The best case scenario today is that doctors and nurses will ring in, and paramedics will ring in and tell us it's just as bad as it always is at the beginning of January. That's the best case scenario. I would say for about the last 12 years, winter has... Oh, it's got a bit of a Game of Thrones quote coming on there, but I don't want to fall into a Jeremy Clarkson-shaped trap. But winter is coming. Is that Game of Thrones? Winter is coming? Winter is coming. And when winter is coming, the NHS always warns that it might not be able to cope. And it's always telling the truth, and it always copes. Which, if I was constructed in a slightly less honest way, would probably give me an opportunity now to pour some ordure upon NHS workers and call them scaremongers like Theresa May did when she was explaining to police why cutting their numbers wouldn't affect their ability to do their job. But these are warnings. It's the maddest thing, isn't it? If I warn you, if I said to you, I might not get to the end of the show today, I'm absolutely shattered. And then I got to the end of the show and you turned around and called me a liar. That would make you an idiot, wouldn't it? And me a victim of your idiocy. So if I warn you that something's going to happen or that something might happen and then it doesn't happen, we should all be relieved. We should all be happy about that. So bear that in mind as I direct you towards the question that I want to ask you this morning, because there's something a little bit different, I think, about the tone of coverage. The crisis, we're told today, could continue until Easter. One newspaper, it's probably the Times actually, because it reads like a government press release. An NHS leader has sought to play down a claim that the deaths of up to 500 patients a week have been caused by delays in emergency care, even as other health service bosses say that the situation is life-threatening for patients. So there's your headline. Health chiefs clash over warning that delays are killing 500 a week. Yeah, because that's the really important thing. Is it 500 or 200, 300 or 412? That's the really important thing that's going on here if you're the editor of the Times. A manufactured, confected row about just how many people are dying unnecessarily as a consequence of the chaos in the health service. No, it isn't. The most important question is, how bad is it? And how does an ordinary schmuck like me get a proper handle on how bad it is compared to previous years? Well, I'm not an ordinary schmuck, am I? Because I get this enormous privilege, this enormous opportunity to ask you from the front line, either perhaps as somebody who routinely calls upon the services of our brothers and sisters in the NHS and can tell me where we stand compared to previous years, or someone who's there at the front line doing their level best to keep the rest of us safe and healthy or in comfort, and struggling to be able to do it because of the circumstances in which you find yourself. So that's the question. The warning is that it will last until Easter. The distraction tactic is a mad argument about how many people are actually dying as a consequence of delays and chaos. But the real question is, how bad is it compared to previous years? More than a dozen trusts, just think about this, more than a dozen trusts and ambulance services have declared critical incidents in the last few days. You've got flu, you've got COVID on the back, coming back, soaring demand, overstretched workforce, pressure on the health service. There have been warnings that as many as 500 people a week may be dying due to delays in emergency care alone. Oxygen for seriously ill patients is running out in parts of England, and leaders warn that chaos is expected to stay. In other words, chaos has become normal. There's a line we're probably going to hear again in the course of 2023, but I want you just to take a moment to roll it around your mouth, if you would, or your ears. Chaos has become normal in the NHS. Remember that in 2010, patient satisfaction with the National Health Service was the highest it has ever been, and probably the highest it will ever be. 12 years of Conservative rule later, chaos is the new normal, and none of it's their fault. None of it's their fault. Whew. So oxygen is running out. People are dying as a consequence of delays. Emergency care is crippled. Critical incidents have been declared. More will be. It seems likely, says Matthew Taylor, who's the chief exec of the NHS Confederation, that the next 3 months will be defined by further critical incidents needing to be declared and the quality of care being compromised. Ministers, of course, are on holiday until Monday, or at least Parliament is on holiday till Monday. There's no current plan to recall The British Medical Association said the government's deafening silence and failure to act was a political choice, which was leading to patients dying unnecessarily. And so on this programme, at least, normal service is resumed. If ever there was a need for clarity and leadership, that need is now. I don't know what Rishi Sunak's doing, talking about trying to give up Mexican Coca-Cola for the new year, or recording ridiculous Instagram messages telling everyone that the good times are about to start rolling. Quite incredible. The NHS is screaming. Paramedics, doctors, nurses reaching for the emergency button, and they're not even responding. They're not even there. They're not even acknowledging it or talking about it. They're almost sort of crossing their fingers and hoping it will go away, just like they did with COVID, before tens of thousands of people died. I don't get it. I don't know why you want to go into politics. I really don't get it. What do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be a politician. Why? I just think it might be fun. I've got quite a high opinion of myself. And I think being Prime Minister I can't really make any more money. I've married the daughter of one of the richest men in the world. There's not much point getting a proper job. I just think it might be commensurate with my self-regard. I'd quite like to. Why do you want to be Prime Minister? I'd really like to sort the NHS out. Well, the party you lead has spent 12 years screwing it left, right and centre. It's not the money either. Two things you need to take on board. It's not underfunded in the clearest sense that some people claim. It's the money's going in all the wrong directions. And you can't claim that the current or looming industrial action has nothing to do with terms and conditions when you've got a 12% vacancy rate. Those are the two lies, one from the left, one from the right. But today's not the day for that sort of politics. Today's the day for reality. It's the day you get to paint a picture. What's going on? 0345 6060 973 is the number. Whatever it is, listen, don't hold back on the grounds of thinking this isn't the most important thing out there. Mike, for example, has texted to tell me he works in a retirement block of flats. And people fall. We're not allowed to lift them up, so we have to wait for an ambulance. NHS has stopped sending ambulances for these calls, instead advising us to call 111 or to take them to A&E. Obviously, if we could take them to an A&E, there wouldn't be an issue in the first place, and we'd be able to pick them up to do so. It just seems to me that the NHS can't cope anymore. I saw a paramedic on social media this morning say, I don't think we can keep this up for much longer. I read doctors warning that this is unsustainable. I hear politicians from the governing party. Oh, no, I don't. Not a sausage. Not a syllable. Not a single scintilla of clarity or leadership. But maybe it's not that bad. Give me a call. Tell me what's going on.